What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fandom Nation, your one-stop shop for all things fandom, Halloween, horror, Star Wars, wrestling, you name it. We more than likely are going to cover it here. Joining me tonight, as always, it's Randy. What's going on, bro?
Not a whole lot. Trying to get back into the grind of things since I was off last week from work, so it's like I'm in the weeds and fun. It's just fun times at work. However, this is getting that nice little bit of reprieve from everything. How are things going with you?
They're going. I got a little bit of a cold, but it's to be expected. The weather is crazy here. One day it's -6, and the next day it's 16, and it's just, yeah, good way to get everybody sick. But back home, there's power, so
That's good to hear.
considering where the last two shows were done from, the fact that I'm here in my own house
Right.
is a benefit, and hopefully in a couple months' time we'll have a much better spot to broadcast from and can be on camera more rather than having to stick to audio only. It's not super enjoyable. So, um, but a lot to talk about tonight, man. We're missing Johnny tonight. He's under the weather, sore throat, I do believe, and we were expecting Matt, but something else might have come up. So, we're gonna do our top 5 Halloween endings. Hopefully, Randy's done his homework for this. I got my 5. We're gonna do a very light preview on WrestleMania. I got to be honest, I'm not very happy with how the build has gone, and it doesn't mean that they can't have a special Saturday and Sunday night. They, excuse me, they very well could. It could be amazing, but it definitely helps when your build is strong and not at the absolute most mid. And I feel like I'm being generous by saying that. Um, and then there's Star Wars Celebration later this week, kicks off in Japan. Um, it's a weird one because there hasn't been a celebration in a couple years. Before that tell-all Kathleen Kennedy interview, um, you would have thought there was a lot to talk about, but she spilled so many beans in that interview that it's like, well, what's there left to talk about for celebration now? Not saying we're not going to hear good things out of it, and I'm sure the people that are there will exclusively see some cool things. Um, but I'm expecting a Mandalorian and Grogu teaser, to be honest. Hopefully not just for the people in attendance, but for everybody. It's a less amount of time from when that panel is to when the movie comes out than when J.J. Abrams revealed the first, what was it, like 90 seconds or something of The Force Awakens there with American Thanksgiving. Um, and so I think there's a perfectly valid reason to expect something Mandalorian and Grogu. I think the thing that has me the most curious, though, is do they get up there and say, yeah, this is the Levy movie, this is who's in it, this is what it's about? Um, I don't know. Like, things are obviously moving. I mean, we just had someone involved with that project basically just came out and said, and I quote, that movie is coming sooner than most people think. Right now, that movie's penciled in for a December 2027 release date. But if things are far enough along, I wonder if you move closer to that 50th anniversary date and have it in May rather than in December.
I think that'd be actually really smart. Obviously, you'll get a re-release like we've had with, obviously coming up with Revenge of the Sith here this year. Uh, but to have a brand new movie ready to go for the 50th would be amazing.
Yeah, I'd still count a December release as like a 50th anniversary thing. It's still in that year, but that's the only thing I think they mean is because like the other movie, the next movie after Mando and Grogu is set for December 2027. So that's when people already think it's coming. So if it's sooner than that, then May's the only thing that would make sense, right? So um, we'll have to wait and see. That one excites me. Like, you give me good talent and good storytellers, and promise me it's not all going to be shot on the volume, and I'm probably sold on it. Um, but I still want to have an idea that the story is going to intrigue me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear the movies about, this thief who stole, credits from a cantina, is on the run from bounty hunters, and that's the movie. Like that's not enough for me.
Well, I mean, like me, I know you're deep in the lore, and maybe we're going to finally get some stuff that, we thought was going to be dead and buried in legends that they're, because we all know that they're pulling stuff here and there from that. So maybe we finally get some of that brought to light, um, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, until we find out, at least get a synopsis. It's granted. I mean, when I first saw like,
I think we know it takes place like 6 years after Rise of Skywalker.
plenty can be done in that 6 year span. Plus all the stuff previously that they can bring in terms of just like the legend of Luke Skywalker or whatever. But not just mentioning him more so, just mentioning him, not even really showing him. It's just like just so you know, hey, we're in the same universe. Um, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I'm not going to lie. When they first announced The Mandalorian, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if I was going to like it. I was just like, because it was a Star Wars that I wasn't used to not having Jedi, things like that. So to have a straight up bounty hunter sort of situation here, I wasn't sure what I was going to think. And obviously, here we are now getting ready to drop a Mandalorian Grogu film, but it's just you never know. It could be as simple as you said, just like I'm not interested, but and the movie just end up being gangbusters and doing great and being absolutely amazing because even though it's a basic story, you can as doesn't matter how simple something is done, if it's done to perfection, if it's done in excellence, it still can be great.
Yeah, I think that's valid. It's just, it's how you do it, right?
Hmm.
You get what you, theoretically, anyways, you get what you put into it, or you hope to, anyways. Um, it's why I'm a big, stinker for quality control. You see what Coruscant looks like in Andor, and then you go take a peek what it looked like in the Acolyte or Obi-Wan, and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? um, but yeah, we'll get to more of that later on. There's a lot of Star Wars stuff to talk about. Probably going to dominate a big portion of the show. Big shout out to our channel sponsors. Without them, we would not be here. There would be no show. So shout out to Ryan over at Colleague Nation, Jason over at Backtrack Cinema, who's in the chat. He just started doing live shows again. Check him out. Entertaining guy, also a good guy. We have Jesse over at Jesse's Storytime Spectacular. Big shout out to him and all he provides to the channel, and our buddy Matt, who hopefully is all right at the moment. Oh, speaking of our buddy Matt, geez, he should go buy a lottery ticket with that kind of timing. Literally, as I said, and to our buddy Matt, hopefully he's feeling all right during the sponsor shout out. Who pops up in the room? That guy right there. What's going on, buddy?
Mm, I'm okay.
Were your
Oh,
ears
your
ears
volume's a
ringing?
little low.
Huh?
Were your ears ringing? Were they burning because we were talking about you?
That's an STD.
Yikes! In your ear. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got STDs in my ears.
We going back to that hashtag Pgate.
Seems like that.
It's a thing. It's a
Yeah.
thing. Hey, look. I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but it feels good to pee outside once in a while in the breeze.
Hell yeah.
Hashtag Pgate. It's a thing. Yeah, right. It's a thing.
Hashtag
It's not a
Justin
mandate.
Green.
I mean, yeah,
Johnny's
he's the
listening to
epitome of
this
doing
from
that for
puking.
sure.
All right. Well, Maddie's just in time because we are getting to our top 5 Halloween endings of all time. how this is going to work is we're all going to go around the, I guess, the triangular table, um, and um, give our number 5 and number 4 at the same time and keep it incredibly brief. And then we'll get into our top 3 one at a time. I'll kick things off. Randy can follow up. Then Matt. Need to pull up my list here. Make sure I don't screw anything. 5 comes a caveat. Is Halloween H2O. Only under the pretense of if that was the ending and nothing happened after, I could have lived with it. And then Resurrection obviously goes and ruins it. But had H2O been the ending like a lot of people wanted, I think that would have been a fitting way for it to end. So H2O is my number 5. And my number 4 comes the hate, whether it's in the live chat or after the fact. I'm sure if people hear this, I'm not going to hear the end of it. My number 4 is Halloween 1978, the original. Iconic movie, great ending. Was that the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, I believe it says, as a matter of fact, it was, or I think it was. It was, or I think it was. I think it was.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It's a great ending. There's nothing wrong with that ending whatsoever. I just think there's 3 endings better in the franchise. Randy, what do you have at 5 and 4?
So for me, for 5, if I get hate for this, I get hate for this. I don't care. I actually chose the first Rob Zombie film, just because it was something different. It wasn't something we'd seen in the past, really. Obviously, if they'd ended it there, Laurie shooting him in the face, you don't get up from that. And then we got the second movie, so we all know how that went. For 4,
We're going to be talking about that second movie in a few weeks here on the channel. A lot of the Tuesday coverage is going to start at 8 p.m. over the next 5 weeks or so, starting next week. Because when we hit 9 p.m., the show transitions into a Andor watch party. And in one of those first hours, I don't know what episode it is, we're actually comparing Halloween Resurrection to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and which movie you, I'd say, like better or hate the least. um, so yeah, we got that coming. Go ahead, Randy.
And for my number 4, I'm actually going with Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Just because it's a great way to end the first of what was supposed to be an anthology series, but it was left ambiguous. So did he succeed? Did he not? And obviously Tom Atkins just giving a great performance throughout the entire film. But honestly, I feel like it's an underrated movie, but because of Michael Myers not being in it, that's why people hate on it so much. But yeah, 3 is my number 4.
Maddie, how about you? 5 and 4.
All right, 5 is Halloween Season of the Witch for me. I can't agree. I mean, I agree completely with what Randy said. It's iconic. Did he succeed? Did he not succeed? Who knows? And just like as far as cliffhangers, that's one hell of a cliffhanger. 4, I was going back and forth on. You know I'm gonna put it in it. God damn it, she's alive. The ending of Halloween 2. Evil never dies.
You mean Halloween Kills?
Yeah, kills. Duh. Yeah, Halloween Kills. Evil never dies. Yeah, I thought that was a hell of an ending because part of you is like, was it her, or was it not her? And I thought, but those are my 4 and 5.
All right. Well, we're gonna go reverse order here for our top 3.
Okay.
You can take a little longer on each one of these if you want. Wait. So yeah, Matt, lead us off. You're number 3.
My number 3 was Randy's number 4. It sucks that when it comes to horror movies, Randy and I think a lot alike. um, yeah, Rob Zombie's one. It was just like, what the fuck? But it's Rob Zombie, so it's almost like you expect, what the fuck? We never had a Halloween movie end like that with just a shot to the face. I mean, you get up from that, and then it went to the travesty that was Halloween 2. But that's my 3.
Randy?
So for my 3, I'm actually going with Halloween 4, because if you really think about it, you're getting the potential passing of the torch in a very iconic way, and it just strikes a chord with you to sit there and see Jamie at the top of the stairs with a clown mask on, with bloody scissors. I mean, it's one of those. It's one of the first. I think that is the first Halloween movie I'd actually seen, because my dad let me watch it when he probably shouldn't have, but still, that ending stuck with me as a kid all the way till now. So that's why that's my number 3. And the question is, did Sean mute himself?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No, I just could not unmute myself. I'm sitting there clicking it, nothing's happening. Just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, my number 3, it was already spoiled. You both had it, in fact. It's Halloween 3. Like, I get it. It's an almost Michael Myerless movie, right? And yet it's great. The sound design in that movie, the editing, the score, but then the ending, right? Like, it's one of those endings where, like, you think the happy day's coming, you think the happy ending's coming, everyone's gonna go home, but did they? Or did several million children in America just die? Um, you don't know. You come to the conclusion for your own ending, which sometimes I like and sometimes I don't. In this case, I thought it was really well done. Matt, penultimate time, man. What do you got at 2?
Mm. This was where I kept on going back and forth major, but at the end of the day, it's 4. Like you said, it almost feels like it was a turning of the guard. I mean, changing the guard to Daniel Harris and everything. The iconic "No" from Loomis. It just hits you like the other ones really don't. So yeah, 4 is my number 2.
Randy?
So for my number 2, I actually went with Halloween 2018, just because, and I know we've just kind of discussed it a little bit, but I mean, you get a really bloody, ultimate fight essentially. They spring the trap, and just the way you think Michael goes out. Just that, like I said, like I had said before, if you didn't have kills or ends, this is a great ending to Laurie versus Michael. This would have been it was enjoyable. Even in the fight itself, anybody could have died in it, because it was a new timeline. Any one of those 3 could have ended up eating it, and you know just enhance the drama even further of this fight of good and evil, basically. But ultimately, that is why I went with that for my number 2.
My number 2 is the same as yours. It's Halloween 2018. Look, a score can make or break a movie or a series to some extent. We're actually going to talk about that with Star Wars in a bit here. Um, but for me, the score at the end of 2018, I can just feel like I'm at TIFF again, TIFF 2018 in that theater. You know, thousands of people there, and just mesmerized by the ending and Michael being trapped in the fire, and the house getting engulfed in flames, and the fire starting to explode behind Michael a bit, and or it's starting to swell up behind him, and there's no panic. He's just looking up at the girls like, I'm going to get you, like it's coming. This isn't it. And then we go to the girls on the truck, and you don't really know who lives or who dies, and then you have Michael breathe in the credits, and it's just the reshot ending for Halloween 2018 was a big win. Matt, give us your number one.
Well, number one, of course, in my opinion, is the very first movie. The It's just all of it. The whole, from the time where she comes up from behind, he comes up from behind her and pulls the mask off, to the gunshots, to all the way down, and then you know, all those shots with the music playing in the background. I mean, like you said, music is everything, because it enhances the moment. It brings power to the moment. Um, and then like those different scenes, and like, he could be here, you never know. He could be there, you never know. And I mean, it's just and the look Loomis gives when he gets down to uh the bottom of the steps, and like, I always knew. I don't think there's anything more powerful in the movies. That's just me.
Well, I think it's probably the most popular pick. I think most Halloween fans would go with that as their number one. Randy, what's your number one?
So this is where Matt and I will actually agree on this as well. Is I chose Halloween '78 mainly now, would I call it the overall best ending? No, but I would call it an iconic ending, one where this is that one type of ending that, like Matt said, the music, but also in the final act, just the lighting and the use. Because back then, it's not like you can go in post and just go to Adobe Pro or something and
Mm-hmm.
change things. So the just the pacing, uh, the overall feel of dread, the lighting where there's certain things obscured that, like I had complained when we went to see the anniversary edition in the
Yeah.
theater, and they ruined the lighting when they cleaned it
Mm-hmm.
up, and you knew where Michael was standing at all times. It really kind of takes you out of it. But when you go back to the original '78, it's not there. You get all these shadows that really obscure him extremely well. You get the music and the tension, and the chase, and then that ultimate ending of, we thought we won, but clearly we did not. And those are the types of movies that kind of stick with you, because when you go to the theater, you're looking for a movie to have that feel good ending. Halloween, for a lot of the times, didn't give you the feel good ending. A lot of the times, the bad guy got up and walked away to kill again. And this is that very first time. And that's why I chose it as my number one.
That's a hell of an answer, man. It cuts deep.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to Jerry in the chat. How you doing, brother? Hopefully all is well, man. Back home with power finally, so that's nice.
Hmm.
Hopefully soon be able to go on camera. We'll see. He says 4 is the best, but 6 is a close second for the eeriness. Well, which version of 6? Loomis isolated and alone, no help, no Tommy. No one knew Loomis was there. No rescue. The scream. The jack o' lantern fate. Okay, so the theatrical cut.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, you know, I like 6. Considering how god awful that production was and how many issues they had to get that movie out. Um, and the fact there's 2 pretty different versions of that movie. I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of love for 6. But mine's Halloween 4. The ending. Michael's has been blown down the mine shaft. You get there, you think little Jamie's safe, and then all of a sudden you think, oh shit, Michael Myers is back. He's in the house. Oh my god, he's gonna get Jamie and the stepmom, or the foster mom. And then we see at the top of the stairs,
It's Jamie.
it's Jamie with the scissors and fucking crazy ass Loomis before he has any chance to ask any questions as to what's happened.
He got the gun pulled out.
Pulls the gun out and goes up a couple of the stairs, and he's about to fucking plug Jamie Lloyd with the no. And Meeker obviously saves her life, and the How
Every
It Should
time
Have
I
Ended
hear
guys
that,
should do that one and have Loomis actually plug Jamie, and that's how it ends.
every time I hear that, no, it goes. It sounds like freaking Palpatine. No,
No, no, you
no.
have lost. Yeah, seeing
Yeah,
that in
exactly. When
theaters.
he's right when him and Wendy are fighting, that's
Yep, that's
it's like I
hey,
hear
that's
it.
in theaters next week, dude. That's a must see, must see. Can't wait. Um, we don't have tickets for it yet, but we're hoping to get some in a couple of days here and cement that as an event, and it'll be a talking point too
You want to
on
go
a
see it, Randy?
extremely busy episode.
The plan is to go see it, so
Yeah.
we'll see how many people we can get together for that.
It's our plan to gonna do an event out of it. Um, let's shift gears here. Anyways, that's our top 5 Halloween endings of all time. Post yours in the comment section down below. I know more people have been watching after the fact than live. Um, but let's shift gears here. Let's get to WrestleMania season, guys, which I don't think has been a very good build.
No.
We have the pay per view, which is unfortunate because I love the theme, I love the logo, I love the colors, I love that it's in Vegas. And most of the time with the WrestleMania logo stuff, I just roll my eyes and go, "This looks like shit." Like, who generically put this together? But everything they have for this year looks great. And then we get to the build, and it's like they forgot what time of year it is for the last couple months, other than at the pay per views or PLEs, whatever you want to call them. And the build is just so uninspiring. I'm not saying I'm not excited to watch it this weekend. Hopefully, there's a good SmackDown that changes the major angles for a couple of things, but I'm not too hopeful on that front. But you can have bad builds and still have special nights, and I'm hoping that's what happens on Saturday and on Sunday. But at the moment, not too thrilled with it, and we'll get into some predictions soon. Matt, your thoughts on the build?
I'm yes and no. I'm not a big fan of how they've built up Jay and Gunther. Though I thought they kind of saved it a little bit on Monday. I really hate uh, Punk and the other Punk and the other two, Reigns and Sammy. Not Sammy. Brain part.
Rollins?
Rollins. I'm not been a big fan of that one. I've actually liked what they did with Tiffany and Charlotte going off script. I thought that was kind of funny. Um, but other than, and I mean, I think Cena has done well in his heel turn as far as cutting promos. He's always a natural anyway, but I think he's been really good. But I think a lot of us know what's going to happen with a lot of these matches, and I'm hoping that H throws us a curveball.
Randy, how about you?
So as far as the build goes, I thought with Jay and Gunther, I thought they were course correcting. Obviously, having Gunther take out Jimmy the way he did in front of him, and then we get super serious Jay the next week, and a stunned Gunther. I mean, that to me, those 2 weeks back to back really kind of helped push things forward. And then we get Jay coming out last night, and he's back to doing a yeet and trying to and getting the crowd going. And I'm just like, if you would have kept the serious tone going, if you would have just built on what you said, I don't care if Gunther was pissy earlier. It's not the point. The point is to remain focused. And I feel like that with what happened last night, they lost a little bit of the focus. This whole buildup with the triple threat, like we talked about earlier, Sean, Punk not really talking a whole lot when he's your best talker.
Like the best talker in wrestling, period. MJF's pretty good. He's got some, stuff to work with his nuance and stuff to work on with his nuances. But the best talker, the best seller on a microphone, and you've essentially had him say virtually nothing 2 weeks in a row. And now you might get SmackDown for one last build, but I don't even know if they'll get that. So it's not good. And I'm a Punk fan. It's just not good.
I feel like last night what they did is giving the fans the nostalgia of the Shield shot, essentially, that of Seth, pretty much getting behind Roman and smacking the back with a chair. I think they're relying on nostalgia to kind of help drive that a little bit, since Seth and Roman have never really come to blows fully to get over that. And honestly, this whole thing of pushing Heyman away, and because Heyman's, doing a favor, it's, I don't know. I feel like it's setting up for Punk to win the way I look at it, but I just don't feel like, because then you can, if Punk wins with Heyman in his corner, then you sit there and you can have people throwing doubt on Roman. Was it Heyman all along that kept Roman winning? So on and so forth. You could take a storyline that way with it, but there's just not enough there at this point. As far as Cena and Cody, the first two promos from Cena were relatively generic and just not Cena-like. It wasn't until Cody went scorched earth on him and they just kind of attacked each other personally that it finally felt like Cena woke up and we got a good Cena promo. Exactly. And then we haven't seen him since because of scheduling and whatnot. And how can you justify this type of title program when you don't see the person you need to see on your screen? Yes, I know you can sit there and have a "you can't see me" joke about it because Cena just is invisible. But the point here is that Cena needed to be on TV. He needed to get one. He needed to get one over or a couple over on Cody. Essentially, that one last Raw, Cody got one.
He's supposed to be at SmackDown tomorrow night. Friday night.
Cody got one over on Cena. and now we're literally days away. As far as some of the other matches go, uh, Charlotte and Tiffany scares me because there's that part. I feel like Tiffany needs to win, but there's
Mm-hmm.
something in the back of my head saying that Charlotte's going to win, and I don't want that to happen. I just don't.
I'm with you.
Um,
That right
and
there is one of the big differences between AEW and WWE. Is that Charlotte and Tiffany stuff would have fucking blew up into something else
Oh, somebody would have gotten fired.
entirely, and WWE shut that shit down really quickly. And I think I think AEW is getting better at it because it's less is coming out, and surely there is some things that are happening that piss people off. That's just the way business works. But
Real quick,
once they get to that point, they can. Um, Once they get to that point, they can focus more on the things they should be focusing on. I I'm just responding to you, Randy. I'm just kind of
no,
interjecting
no,
as you go along here. I don't care about this match like at all.
exactly. And that's the problem. It's like, what matches do we care about? We already know Cena's pretty much going to beat Cody. So unless they put on like an amazing match where it's a Willy Woney sort of thing, we already have an idea of the finish there. Like a lot of these matches pretty much already have, it's pretty much almost cut and dry for the most part. And that's the thing that sucks.
see, I think Punk's gonna win, but I'm hoping we get a curveball.
See,
And
I
the
don't.
curveball you keep on
I
hearing,
I
rumbling is uh um Heyman's gonna turn on both of them and go with Seth. I've heard that rumbling.
so I think Seth is going to win. I don't think Punk's going to win. He's had very little to do the last couple weeks, and um, which is unfortunate because then it turns into like his whole main event thing was just, oh, just happy to be here, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
given if you look at between the three of them, the work they've put in the last year, ask yourself honestly who deserves to win that match and who can sell you the most tickets next year based on who's going to be there.
Punk.
For me, the answer is CM Punk by
Mm-hmm.
a long shot, but I don't think he's going to.
Yeah. I mean, now if I was oblivious to, you know, the dirt sheets and wrestling news and things like that, um, the promo that Seth cut in terms of just, saying he's there, he doesn't want wrestling to go down the two paths. I didn't mind that so much because that's how Roman had a stranglehold on the title belt for so long, is he showed up
Mm-hmm.
sparingly. And then yes, yeah, obviously, in terms of Punk, he's taking stuff from the past and also stuff from AEW and interjecting it into what he believes Punk is, which we all know that's all buried. He's pretty much locked in. I heard that I guess there was creative differences between him and Triple H recently, and they both sat down and hashed it out to where everything was going to
Mm-hmm.
work out the way they want it. So it's like we've seen the evolution of Punk when it came to leaving WWE, going to AEW, getting fired from AEW, and coming back to WWE. He's grown a ton, and I'm happy to see him just go out there, do his thing, and work with the young talent. We'll sit down with Triple H for creative purposes. Like it's nice hearing these things, and it's just a shame that we're gonna, like you said, at least it got to be in the main event of WrestleMania, dude. These two other guys have won the main event of WrestleMania before. It's your turn. It really
Mm-hmm.
is Punk's turn to win at a main event. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Looking at some of the other matches, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, a whole bunch of
like I feel like the dark horse sleeper is going to be, Drew and Damian, just because those guys are going to not hold back and they're actually going to have a real stiff match, and sometimes you just need
Yeah, it's a
those.
street fight too. So I think those
Mm-hmm.
two are And I don't
Um,
think there's a chance Drew doesn't win that match.
that dude has done everything for this company. He's been a star on social media. He's put himself through hell, just to get up there. And yeah, that the whole Punk feud is definitely one of my highlights for WWE last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the thing is it's like Drew. I feel like at times that Drew just is underrated, even though we all know he's just damn good at what he does. If he's in, he just takes stuff and runs with it, but he's underutilized. They don't utilize him the way they should. He should have had at least another title reign by now.
Yep.
But that's uh, that's just how I feel about that. But look at it. Look at these other matches. Is there anything that even sticks out to any of you, either one of you, that has had a proper build? Now, don't get me wrong. We had an issue with AEW doing All Out like 2 weeks after All In, and they put on a gangbuster show that was just an absolute amazing show from top to bottom. All the matches were great. So it's not impossible for this to happen with WrestleMania. I think we're going to get good matches. It's just, are there any that we really
We can
care
see.
about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to how the who's gonna win Io, Bianca, and Rhea.
Can you do me a
Because I
favor,
think,
Randy? Well, he's talking about this. Can you try to find the card for me for Mania?
Sure.
but yes, I'm curious about that one because you're like, okay, I think they're going to take it off Io and it's going to go to Rhea or Bianca. Uh, well, Rhea's had her run. Are we going to really put it back on her? So my thought process goes to Bianca that she's going to win it because I don't think Io is that popular of a champion. Though in the past week or two, it seems like the crowd's got a little bit more behind her. You can hear it, but um, that's a who knows, and that's what I think that match. Just on the, I'm curious of who wins it, and I think they can put on a good. Those three can put on a good match. Um, I'm hoping that
Just don't put the belt back on Bianca. That's all I care about.
why.
I've never bought her. I've never bought her as a legitimate champion. Like, it's not like I have anything against her or her in-ring ability. There's just champions tend to give off a certain aura to them, and for me, she just doesn't give it off. But that's my personal opinion. I know that she's done great work
Yeah,
while being champion. So I'm not saying that she can't do it. I just say, for me personally, just doesn't give off what I
that
view.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that.
So there
I
are
can,
7 matches on night 1 and 6 so far on night 2. And I know there's rumblings of adding 1 or 2 more matches.
oh, there's really needs to be
Oh
another
yeah,
match.
Randy Orton and Solo. Ooh,
Yeah. Oh,
that's an awful idea. To me, I would have done Orton and Aleister Black. I would have had Aleister Black come out and beat Orton at Mania, and it'd be a huge
I do
push.
think Aleister Black's going to show up at Mania. I
I don't.
also
I think he'll
think
be after Mania. I think he's the next night.
him, and then I've heard rumblings of what's her name? Oh God, Sarah. Oh God, I can't say her name right. She just left AEW. Dark black hair.
Are you talking about Paige?
Yes.
Soraya? I know. I know she wants to go back. I don't know if she signed a contract yet.
Say the
I heard
rumor out
rumors.
there is Mariah May might be WWE bound.
I
So,
heard that too. I just heard that.
apparently she doesn't have long left on her deal. I guess she must have been a late bloomer in the deal she was in currently. I thought she was like just
Her deal was for 2 years, but I guess the real question is was there an option to be picked up or not? I mean, obviously, her being
I
off
think
TV makes
Tony's learned his
sense.
lesson.
Her being off TV makes sense. She's just selling that one match. But we'll see, with Mina Shirakawa going to AEW, I don't see why they wouldn't re-sign Mariah May or at least extend her another year since they're so close. But we'll see about that. So for the first, we got this is how they listed. They got the War Raiders versus the New Day for the tag titles.
New Day.
Okay, hang on. Before we get into our predictions, Randy, I don't know if you have a pen available. I'm not in a very good place to be able to take the predictions down.
Let me
Actually,
grab.
hang on. Let me see if I can wrangle my other device here.
Don't have a damn notebook.
Okay, WrestleMania predictions. Okay, so before we get into that, I wanted to add one more thing on the Punk Rollins Roman thing.
Okay.
There you have a match where, and I want to touch on the Cena Cody thing too, but there you have a match where it should be personal. It shouldn't just be the lazy, oh, well, look at how big these guys are and their fame. And, you know, if you look far enough back in their history, it's clearly there amongst one another. So now we're just going to dog the build. That's stupid. But you just had Seth go on a podcast today. And I think it's what you just mentioned, Randy. And he says, and I quote, he took some billionaire son's money to go wrestle for a different company and shit all over us. That's the type of line that should have come out in the ring. I know they don't like giving AEW too much attention or whatever, but you've already given it enough, in my opinion, and vice versa. It's just like, say that in the fucking ring. Have Seth throw that to Punk. Punk can then throw to Seth and Roman. If it wasn't for him, where would they be today? You know, they were essentially henchmen for him. And then Roman and Seth obviously have a ton of heat in the past, but like, you can say that on a podcast, but you couldn't have said that in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on.
No, I think that would have gotten quite the reaction, and I can only imagine the look on Punk's face hearing that. It would have been pretty priceless to be perfectly honest, especially if it wasn't something he was expecting. Not saying that Seth would be going to business for himself, is what Punk has said about other wrestlers before, but it's the idea of, hey, I'm going to warn you. I'm just going to say something. Hey, I'm going to say something completely off cuff. That's so just to just roll with it. Because I know they discuss that stuff backstage, but it's just the idea that it would have really gotten a great reaction.
Johnny's in the chat here. Maybe you guys can follow along with this one. John got used AEW, so they couldn't. What's he referencing there? We're all clueless. Provide some context. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. I don't know. I think the Bills shit. You know, I'm hoping for a fun match. I don't think Punk's winning. I hope he does win. He should win. He deserves to win, which means he probably won't.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go through these predictions.
So, like I said before, 7 matches on night 1, 6 on night 2 so far that are announced. So the first one they have listed here, the War Raiders versus the New Day for the tag titles.
New Day.
New Day, but like, why is this a WrestleMania match?
Right.
Like, could this not have been on the pre-show?
Exactly.
Could you not have added a third tag team to this to make it a little more interesting? Could you have added a ladder to make this a little more interesting? Like, this is.
I mean, how
What are we
much have they
doing? This is a
feuded over
Monday
the
Night Raw.
years?
This literally was just a Monday Night Raw match. So, like, oh.
But yeah, how much have they feuded over the years, back and forth?
So is everybody New Day with this?
Yeah.
So everyone has New Day over War Raiders.
Oh, I see it. I see what Johnny's saying. That because
Cena made the reference.
Cena
Yeah.
made the reference to Cody, so they weren't going to use it here.
Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes go for that, and then I watch 5 wrestlers do spears in the same show and go, eh. So, anyway, what's next? I
So
got
for the
yours
next,
too.
so the for the next one here, they have Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano.
How could Ray not win it?
I
They probably do
like
something
Chad
stupid.
I like Chad Gable, but this whole fucking thing is stupid. This is like fucking Vince McMahon's diaper matches.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm going with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, as Ray has to win. He just has to. It would be kind of sad to basically have a faux luchador beat a real luchador, but you know that's just. It wouldn't shock me if they did that, but I'm still gonna go Ray.
Yeah. Yeah.
Johnny, Matt?
Yeah,
You going with
Ray.
Matt? Johnny? And you want to take matches away? No, I don't want to take matches away. I want to make good matches. Matches worthy of being on WrestleMania that haven't happened 4 times in the last, fucking 10 months. He's
Johnny
going
Cito
with
Grande.
he's going with Chad Gable. So I got Sean, Randy, Matt for Ray, Johnny for Gable, who may or may not actually be in that match. All right, Randy, what's next?
So the next one they got listed here is Jade Cargill versus Naomi, and I have to say Jade Cargill should win this.
Yeah, it's Jade Cargill. Like, you can be a hater on her if you want, but like she's going over in this match.
Yeah, they want to push her bad too. So yeah. Yeah, Jade for me.
We'll see what Johnny B says. Gotta make sure I don't get Johnny and Jerry confused. Jerry's just in there submitting picks, and I'm getting Jerry's and not Johnny's. Everyone Jade. All right. And Johnny says he's going with the Repo Man. I don't blame you with that. What do we got next, Randy?
LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title. I'm going Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, before we're getting this likely Orton Solo Sikoa boring fucking awful wrestling match, I would have said that Solo was going to screw over Jacob. But now with him doing something else, I don't think we need to see him twice in one WrestleMania weekend. So I'm going Jacob Fatu.
I am also going Jacob Fatu.
Dude is over, like
major.
crazy over. And I hate to say it, but LA Knight's been a boring ass champion.
I know.
I don't like LA Knight. Like, I get what people see in him, but for me, he fucking screams poser. Oh, he's annoying. Okay, what's next?
Looks like Johnny's going Jacob as well.
I did see that.
All right, so we got Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
I'm going to go with a hard I don't care.
Obviously, I want Tiffany Stratton to win this. Obviously, there's still that creeping in the back of my mind that Charlotte is going to win, just because Charlotte. But I'm gonna go out and just still stick with Tiffany, just because she needs to win this, because it'll actually help boost her into that next level for her career. And it'd be nice to actually see Charlotte put someone over for once, rather than just constantly say mine.
Well, clearly Sean is a dummy, yeah.
Well, we already knew that.
Matt, who you going with?
I like Johnny. Charlotte, but because fuck originality. You know, I'm with Randy. I want Tiffany to win so much. But Charlotte's fucking somebody. And it ain't who we think, her ex-husband. to be able to get this push every time she comes back. Without fail, she always gets a push. And people that are more deserving get fucked over. So I want Tiffany Stratton to win. I think Charlotte will in the end.
And
On some
Randy, did you
bullshit.
say Charlotte is going to win, or you went with Tiff?
I went with I'm sticking to with Tiffany Stratton. I just in the back of my mind, there's that nagging feeling of Charlotte, but I'm still gonna stick with Tiff because she needs this more than Charlotte does.
Yeah. I don't think Charlotte cares how much she needs it, which means Charlotte's winning this match. I'm going Charlotte. What's next?
Gunther versus Jay, and we all know Jay's winning. It's gonna be the second straight year where Gunther loses a title at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther's going to be this dominant wrestler who just goes on this mania
364 days. 364 days.
He's like goes 0-7 at Mania and like just desperately needs to break it. It's his kryptonite. He's amazing everywhere else but there. Hey, you could sell me on that story. Gunther is good enough to play it off.
0-21.
Okay, not that far. I'm saying like 0-6, 0-7. I like Gunther a lot, and I would laugh my ass off if he won that match, but I don't think it's happening.
Yeah,
it wouldn't bother
over.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't bother me if Gunther won, just because I feel like he's how you build a heel. That's the type of guy that he's a monster heel. He's a great talker. He's good in the ring, and he doesn't really need help. He just goes out there and he performs. And that's how you're supposed to build a heel. A long-lasting heel at that. So, but given how over Jay is, yeah, Jay's definitely winning.
Yeah, I agree.
Important to remember, Triple H is a mark for her dad. Yeah, her dad's fucking a useless tit. Sorry. That's how I feel about Ric Flair.
Crooked tits. Get it right.
And Johnny went Charlotte as well. Who do we got next?
Sorry,
that was Charlotte Tiff we just did, right?
No, that was
Gunther and Jay.
Gunther. Oh, yeah, I went Jay. Sorry. We don't have one for Johnny. The three of us are Jay.
He said yeet, which means Jay.
Okay. Jay, everyone. Okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
So for the final match for night one, Roman versus Punk versus Seth.
I'm going Seth.
Go, Randy.
Depending on, I mean, as of right now, if I'm going off of the go home show last night, which was not good, I'm going to go Punk only because you got Seth standing tall at the end. And usually wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE, they tend to give away their matches through the finish of the go home show. So I'm actually going to pick
The problem
Punk.
is I think the go home show is going to be SmackDown for those guys. That's a Roman show, right? So
I didn't think he's going to be on it.
We'll see.
I mean, he might be.
I'll still stick with Punk.
They better hope there's something else to come.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think
Johnny's going Seth. Randy went Punk.
I went Punk.
You're gonna have 2 and 2. Because I'm going with Punk. I just don't think they give him his WrestleMania match and not make him a winner. I just don't think they're going to.
Unless they promised him a title shot at next WrestleMania.
Or
maybe they should have done the sensible thing, and if they knew Cena wasn't really going to be all that available, which has really ruined the whole build for that, in my opinion. Maybe they should have done Punk and Cody, which was hot for a bit and people wanted, and you could have done Cena and someone else, and like.
The rumors was they wanted
Paul Heyman on a ladder match. Paul Heyman on a pole.
Poor Heyman, he's gonna be sore after that.
No, but for rumors they were saying at first they talked to Cody about doing the heel turn. And
yeah, I did hear that.
I'm
And
waiting for
then,
Homelander Cody.
I don't think it's gonna happen. That's just me.
One can hope.
yeah, I mean,
Paul Heyman on a poll back in January. Um,
uh,
an unburied alive match. You have to unbury Paul Heyman before he runs out of air. Um, what do we got? What are we on?
So that's the end of night one. Night two. Liv and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bailey and Lyra Valkyria for the women's
Yeah, I'm
tag
going
title.
Live.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see them pulling the belts off them that early, but also Bailey and Lyra when you can't even really trust. I feel like there's going to be some salt there from Bailey not being able to beat Lyra for her title. So I think that's going to cause friction through that match.
I disagree. I think they're going to take all the belts off of Judgment Day. They lose it.
Okay.
Johnny, who
Because
you got?
I think everybody's tired of Judgment Day. So I mean,
Have you seen Liv? You're tired of that?
I'm not tired of Liv. I mean, you can give Liv another run somewhere else.
Yeah, I bet you'd like to give Liv another run.
Yeah, she's coming over in a little while.
Oh yeah, is she?
Yes.
So we
I'm
got
gonna walk up
Liv,
to her and say, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?"
we got Liv, Sean, and Randy, and we have Bailey
Dom
for
is the
Matt.
ref.
Sean, Randy, Johnny, all on the same side. Okay, what else we got, Randy?
So next match, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Okay, just throw up my mouth saying that name a little bit. Because I think Logan Paul's a massive asshat. Unfortunately, I think
Trying
he's
to be
going
like
to
his
win.
brother.
Fortunately, I think he's going to win.
And that's bullshit because he is. I agree.
Yeah, I'm with Randy. I think Logan Paul's going to win. AJ Styles' contract's running out. The head doesn't have a new one. That's mainly my main reason. I think Logan Paul's going to win. Matt?
Oh, I said I was with Randy.
Oh, okay. So all three of us,
Yeah.
Logan Paul.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Johnny B. Randy, what's next? Logan Paul.
Because social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one they got listed here is Braun versus Penta versus Finn versus Dom for the Intercontinental Championship. I am torn on this one. I want Penta to win, but the way things are going, it feels like Dom's going to win this match.
I hope not.
And he pins Finn. He's going to somehow that's like the feeling I get. As much as I want Penta to win, I just feel like the way they've got this set up, it's for Dom to win.
How?
All you have to do is like basically have Braun or Penta hit their finisher on Finn and then find a way of knocking him out of the ring. That's the thing with the Fatal 4-Way. If people, it's going to be a longer match. So I'd be fine with Finn if he won. Maybe if he won this match. He's long overdue for a title run. He's done everything
that I agree
WWE's
with.
asked him.
Okay, so
I still
I'm
say
trying
Dom.
to keep up here. We got Randy says Dom.
Johnny's got Finn.
We got Johnny says Finn. What does Matt say?
I think they're pushing Penta.
Matt says Penta. I mean, I think the obvious choice here for me would be to go with Braun, but Randy keeps stealing my fucking thunder tonight. And I too think Dom is winning this match.
Well, then don't let me go first so I don't steal your thunder.
What's next?
Damian Priest versus Drew.
Oh,
Drew.
There's not a chance Damian Priest is winning this match.
I agree. Drew's winning this.
I agree.
Drew just gets screwed again.
And watch we all be wrong.
Punk loses night 1, so comes out in night 2 and screws Drew for no good reason.
Yeah. I could see Punk coming out fucking with some match
Their
on night
spot
2.
with the glass on the car, the fact, obviously calling back to the Jack Perry thing. The fact Drew's laying on the car, Punk's walking into the arena, kind of looks at it, grins, and walks by.
Oh my god, they should have done that.
That was better than the entire Punk Seth Roman build, and I'm not exaggerating.
No.
Johnny's got Drew.
Yeah.
What's next?
Io versus Bianca versus Rhea.
Rhea for me.
Is that what you want or what you think?
Can it be both?
I know you.
Rhea.
Mammy. Go ahead, Matt. I'm thinking because I got some stuff kind of brewing up in here, and I'll definitely want to save it for when you guys say your piece.
I want Rhea to win, but I think Bianca's going to win. Because
she's about the only person I don't want to win that match.
Right. I mean, well, like I said, I just don't think that she's is popular. She's not over, and I think they try to get her over, but she's not getting over. But it's been a while since Bianca's had a singles title on her, and I think WWE sees her as one of the key people, which she is to a degree. But I just don't. It's so hard to pick against Rhea, but
So what's your final answer?
I think Tony Khan might be messing with this. Shit. Rhea. I can't go against Rhea.
Who'd you go with, Randy?
Well, now that Johnny said he's going with Rhea, the one thing I don't want to happen will happen, and I will give you my valid reason as to why I feel it will. Something tells me Bianca's going to win, and it's not because for any of the reasons you guys are thinking. However, I think what this is going to do is this is going to help build Jade versus Bianca for the title at some point. And I think that's where this is heading with Bianca winning, is we're going to get Jade a title push.
Not yet. I'm thinking we might get that next year, next WrestleMania.
You could build up to SummerSlam. You could build up to Survivor Series. You could build up to the Rumble. It's basically gonna be Jade chasing Bianca is what it's gonna be, and they're gonna and hopefully we'll get a proper build, not what we've got now.
Right, I agree.
But that is my prediction. As much as I hate to even say it because I don't want the belt on Bianca, but it makes the most sense in terms of creating a storyline that has yet to be explored.
Yeah, I agree. I just can't find it in my heart of hearts to go against Rhea.
Trust me, we all want Rhea to win, but
I know.
For the sake of predictions, I'm going Bianca.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
What's next, dude?
The last match they have listed here: Cody versus Cena, and we all know John's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
With this
anyway, he doesn't win.
He's got The Rock backing him. I mean, you could easily. That's the problem. You got the final boss backing him. You've got whatever that douchebag's name is. I don't even know what that dumbass rapper, whatever his name is.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Cena's got his own little entourage, and if The Rock doesn't want the belt on Cody, he will find a way of getting the belt off of Cody.
I mean, we know it's Cena. I just wanted to see which y'all's opinions as far as if he didn't take it off of him.
If he doesn't take it off of him, it's going to be because of some fluke. Like maybe
Somebody coming back.
Someone comes back, or maybe Cena gets hurt in the match and can't win. You know what I mean? But that's what I mean. Think about it. That's happened in other promotions too, where the champ gets hurt or the opponent gets hurt and they can't finish the match. So you just have to call an audible. I feel like at this point it would take something like that for Cena to not win.
The only thing, yeah, because I got a feeling they're going to do what they did last year, where you saw Undertaker, you saw who else was it? Who was it? Taker.
If they rehash that,
I got a feeling they're going to do that.
But
I don't think it's going to be
cheapens what happened last year if they did something like that again.
I know.
So let's not. I got a feeling they might do it.
Let's not put that out in the ether. Let's not have Triple H and his creative team hear that, because they don't. We don't need that to happen.
Other algorithm. They said my name.
I wouldn't put it past them. I'm going Cena though.
Yeah, Cena. Johnny's picking Travis Scott.
He actually said you can't see him, so he's going with Cena.
Oh, okay. I see that.
So everyone's Cena.
And unless
I almost feel like Saturday night's better than Sunday night.
Matt, final thoughts on like your wants from Mania before we let you go, buddy?
I mean, look, I want to expect the unexpected. I don't want what we're expecting. I want to see curveballs, and they've done it before. I want to see them do it again. That's my 2 cents. My third cent's free.
It's okay. What about you can keep it.
Shut up.
Honestly, hopefully at this point, I just want quality matches. I want some good storytelling in these matches. We don't need anything too crazy or overboard. Obviously, some matches are going to be harder hitting than others. I feel like, obviously, Drew and Damien is going to be quite the hard hitting match, and they're those two guys are perfectly built for those matches. I know we're going to get some craziness out of that fatal 4-way. But ultimately, like I said, I just want good matches. I want good storytelling in these matches. I want them to make me feel something, because this buildup has made me feel nothing. So if I can at least get that, at least if I can actually cheer a few of the matches, all the matches, or just feel something watching the matches, I'll consider that a win. Obviously, it wouldn't hurt to have a surprise return here and there, or someone come out that we aren't expecting. But at this point, let's just put on a good show and send the fans home happy.
Well, I hope you feel something when Trish comes. I mean, not Trish. Tiffany Stratton comes out.
The wrong kind of feeling, buddy.
It's still a good feeling, though.
Same kind of feeling with Rhea.
Overrated.
What?
Yeah, I said it. Overrated. Overrated. Yeah.
I gotta go get my green card again. Knock some sense in hands with that one.
All right. Well, there you have it. WrestleMania weekend is not far away. I hope that it ends up being better than what the build has been.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's give it a shot. Have some fun. Matt, thanks for doing this tonight, man. I know you're fighting through it tonight, buddy, but I really appreciate
I feel
you.
better now. Yeah.
the Halloween and the wrestling, and I hope it took your mind off things. And
Yeah.
oh yeah, by the way, Bret Hart, 3-time Hall of Famer. I can't say I agree with the whole match thing getting inducted, but it's a hell of a match, and I'm sure it's a big thing for Punk to do that for
That's gonna be cool.
Bret and Austin. So
Yeah.
now that shit's on late as fuck, so I don't know if I'll be awake for it, but I'll
I'll
try.
call
We'll see
you.
what happens. um, as for WrestleMania Sunday, I don't know how much of that I'm going to see. Like, I'll have it up, but Leafs start the playoffs on Sunday. They just won the division for the first time in forever, and it's them
They got
against the
knocked out the
Sens in
first
round
round.
one. It's them against the Sens in round one. This is different. And so help me God, if they find a way to lose to this team, you can take my Leaf fan membership and fucking burn it. But anyways, Matt, thanks for doing this tonight, buddy. We'll see you next time.
All right, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
All right, there you have it, Mr. Matt Whitfield. Thanks for coming out, buddy. Johnny in the chat for participating too. I know Johnny's under the weather right now, but he came out and gave his predictions, so that's appreciated. Randy, Star Wars Celebration. We started with some brief talk off the top for it. I'll keep it simple because we went for about 5 minutes earlier. Is there anything you are really hoping to get from Star Wars Celebration? I remember back during the sequels, this was the event, right? This is the event everyone couldn't wait to happen because of the things that would drop. Is there any excitement at all for you to obviously you're not going to be at Celebration, but to experience maybe some of the stuff that comes out from there?
Not gonna lie, if I went to Celebration, chances are I probably wouldn't be coming home because I'd be in Japan. So, other than that, obviously, I definitely hope we get a Mandalorian Grogu teaser trailer. I mean, it makes sense. They've done plenty of filming. They've done a lot of post production already. We should have something. It would be kind of make zero sense for them to not give that to us. Obviously, like you, I want to know more about the Levy movie. Let's get a panel going where we get to bring out more than just say Gosling. I think Jesse Plemons was supposed to be potentially one of the people signed on for the film as well. So let's have a nice panel. Let's get the story hashed out. Obviously nothing's been filmed yet, but that's fine. The idea of like, hey, the script's done, we go into production here, like getting that type of information. That's kind of what I'm hoping for when movies are going to production. Maybe some teasers for upcoming potentially animated series, because I know live action series aren't exactly at the forefront right now, considering the movies they're working on. And maybe, who knows, maybe even a little update on maybe some games here and there. Maybe, even though I know it's not their territory, but maybe, a little KOTOR action or something. Who knows? Maybe the announcement of a KOTOR series. Let's shoot for the stars on this one, because I would just be all on board for that.
You're killing me here. I would love it, but there's almost no chance that's happening. Yeah, for me, I think it's there's not really anything more to give with Andor in terms of that stuff. So for me, it's like, yeah, let's release a teaser to Mando and Grogu for the world to see. Get everybody excited for that. If you want the people at Celebration to see an extended version, that's fine, but you are far enough along to have something pretty enticing. If the movie is at all that, you're far enough along to be able to provide that, right? Like, you've finished filming. There's definitely stuff to show off and to talk about the movie, maybe the premise a little bit. But for me, the big thing's the Levy movie, right? There, obviously, we spoke off the top about them insinuating that that movie is going to come quicker than people think. Speculation of them moving from the December 2027 date to May 2027, which puts that movie about 2 years away. If that's what happens, we'll have to wait and see. But for me, it's the Levy movie. The Levy movie's a big thing. Then there's this Star Wars game that's coming out, the what is it called? Zero Company.
Yep.
Um, I I was under the impression this was a real time strategy game. I am less sure of that today based off of things I read. I hope I'm wrong, but I have no fucking idea what's going on at this point. So, and I know they're doing an exclusive first look at that game this weekend. Hopefully that goes live and we get a better idea what that's all about. I know it's turn based. Um,
Oh, that's right, because it's made by the company that, like, does XCOM and stuff like that.
yeah,
So, have you ever played XCOM?
no,
All right, so it technically is. It's something in the vein of like Command and Conquer or Star Wars Battlegrounds or StarCraft or anything like that. The turn based is basically you control specific units. They level up as you go through the campaign, but you can position them into advantageous positions as you move them up towards their goal, defeating the enemy. Like in XCOM, it was you versus an alien invasion, and you had characters who had different traits, whether it be a sniper, assault rifle guy, shotgun guy, medic, stuff like that, where you would move them strategically around the map, taking out the enemy, and then getting to your objective. So in a way, it is a strategy game, if that's the route they're going, but it's more or less going to be something where it's not really. It's going to be more turn based than really real time.
alrighty. Well, um, there you have that. Andor season 2, man. Just around the corner. You know we're getting close when the press junkets are starting, and you had Diego Luna on Kimmel, which I thought was a funny interview. There's starting to be clips from season 2. Um, Starting to be clips from season 2 surfacing. I've watched a few of them. They look damn good. I'll say one thing. There's a piece of news that I did not know about that I heard today that worries me a little. And I mentioned it earlier in the show. Your score, well, it won't fail or pass your movie. To me, it's the difference between your movie and or show being, good or great. That's how important I think a score is. And it turns out the Andor season 1 composer, who I thought just knocked it out of the park, I thought he was amazing, is not back for season 2 due to scheduling.
That's a bummer.
Tony Gilroy went on about how he was extremely worried about it, but it actually turned out really good, and he's more than satisfied with it. He could just be saving face there, but that worries me a little bit. How about you?
Yeah, it's always difficult when the score doesn't match the scene or like the feel of the scene. And with season 1, there was a lot of musical cues that I just was like, wow, I totally forgot how good the music was and how well it played into a scene. Um, but we've seen we've seen other composers take on Star Wars and done a really good job with it. Like we'll go back to the Shadows of the Empire when they released the soundtrack. The fact that it wasn't John Williams, you almost didn't realize it wasn't John Williams. That composer did such a good job of capturing the essence of Star Wars and having familiar musical tones that really kind of gave off a John Williams vibe that it added to the game like that. The score for the very end battle scene against the space station and Shizor, and that that I had that track on repeat because it was just that good. So as much as it is a bummer that the original composer is not returning for season 2, if it's not impossible to say that Tony Gilroy didn't at least find a good replacement to come in and still belt out a hell of a score for the series. I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we're not far off now. I really like how they keep emphasizing each week is basically a movie. It's 2.5 hours of runtime, ton of story there. Um, the closer we get, the more excited I get for this. Uh, Obviously, I was a diehard Andor season 1 fan. I thought us showing Johnny Andor went Probably a little better than what I thought it was. I thought his stubborn ass would have a harder time adjusting to it or giving it a real shot. And I think he came around. I mean, that last episode's hard for anyone to not come around, right? Just where's your general anticipation for Andor season 2 heading into next week? Which, by the way, on Tuesday night next week, the Fandom Nation show starts at 8 p.m. and at 9 p.m. the show will continue, but it morphs into a watch party of the first episode of Andor. And then on Wednesday night at around 10 Eastern or so, we will break down all 3 episodes, and that will be the formula going forward for the next 5 weeks or so. But yeah, Randy, just feel free to have at it for a bit, man. Andor thoughts.
So it's just like doing the rewatch of season 1 was kind of what I needed, because at least now I'm not waiting that long for season 2. I still have that episode 12 kind of fresh in my mind. So it's like that hype factor of, okay, what type of time jump are we looking at? How far along are we? Is it similar to just like, hey, this is maybe 5 months after? Or are we getting a couple of years after? I know that with each week, it's going to be a different time jump leading up to the start of Rogue One. And obviously, the cool thing, even though we know, say, Mon Mothma and Andor survive will survive the series, no one else is off the board. Everybody else is fair
Let
game.
me tell you, I watched that Rebels episode today, where they helped get Mothma to safety
Mhm.
after her speech after the Gorman massacre, which is all things that are supposed to happen in Andor season 2. Um, it's going to be very hard for them to not have some shot of the ghost or whatever in there, depending on how far this, because it's not like that part happens right before Rogue One, a
Right.
couple years out still. And, you know, they got some decisions to make here, because that's not really a Tony Gilroy style to go for the cameos or whatever, but,
Yeah, I agree.
how much does Rebels count?
I agree. And that's why I said, when it's one of the things I was hoping for in the season was getting at least a cameo, whether it be, you know, even if they had changed the canon a little bit to just say it's just Chopper leading into the ghost, or we get, Hera and Chopper. Like we don't, obviously they'll work it out as best they can. Obviously, if we just see a shot of the ghost, it's like Mon Mothma boarding the ghost and then taking off. I mean, I'll be fine with that, just because I love the ghost. That's one of my favorite ships in Star Wars. Um, so just to see that, I'd be ecstatic over it. But yeah, this really could be like, yep, Rebels has all this meaning here, and that I think that's just to pay a little homage to it and just say, yep, it is canon. Here it is. Doesn't even have to be much. But like I said, the whole idea of this entire season, the only two people technically that are safe are Andor and Mon Mothma. That's it. Everybody else is on the table as to basically being offed in some way. And I do think, I hate to say it, but I do think we're going to see Luthen's end in some way, shape, or form this season. As much as I would hate it, I think it's implied, especially in season 1, with his speech essentially about, in no uncertain terms, basically saying he's sold his soul to the rebellion. So it's exciting. It's exciting to think that we're going to get some mature Star Wars content, because we obviously we don't get a ton of it. Usually there's some tongue in cheek in there and some comedic timing, but in this sense, this is going to be the rebellion. Like, we're going to see the birth of the rebellion through this. We're going to see just how down and dirty the Empire really gets. And how down and dirty the rebellion's willing to go for freedom. it's exciting. It's stuff we've never seen before, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think honestly, you really think about it, and maybe there's some minor characters this wouldn't apply to, but like outside of Andor and Mon Mothma, I'm having a hard time seeing
Well, and
almost.
Saw Gerrera if they actually bring him in too.
Well, he's in the trailer, so he's in there.
Yeah.
So he has to live. Same with Krennic. Um, so you got those two, Andor and Mon Mothma. But like when it comes to like Brasso and Bix and the other kid there, what is his name, Wolfen or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, even Deidre, uh, Karn, frankly, Mon Mothma's family.
Yeah.
Like I think it's going to be Luthen. I think it's a given. He has to go. He cannot live. Um, it's going to be so much death, is my guess. Plus, there's some lines in Rogue One, even though I haven't seen it in forever, that I'm basically lost everything. I think that there's a good chance, anyways, as you were saying earlier, that most of these characters are going to die.
It makes sense, but all because the show is named Andor, and we've seen him at the very beginning. But like when you think about how he is at Rogue One, he's almost heartless. He's cold. And we don't see that at the end of season one. We see him, ready to go, ready to, fight the Empire and save people. And all of a sudden now he goes from that to basically going, I'm sorry, but the rebellion's more important. And you shoot somebody just, at the beginning of Rogue One. Well, it's what and then we get to find out what happened. We get to find out the character development, you know, who he lost, how he lost them, what drove him to just kind of collapse with it himself to the point of where he's just nothing but a soldier at this point, a yes man to just go out and do the dirty work. And I think that's what one of the big things we're gonna see through these four arcs.
Sorry, Randy, 1 second. Yeah, Luthen's kind of like the must, right? Like, I remember when Rogue One was coming out, I thought to myself, these people should all die. Like, that's the way this should happen now. In my version of it, Vader ended up killing most of them. And while something similar does happen, it's not exactly that happens. Um, so I feel the same way with Andor. Like, as much as I like a lot of those characters, and it's so incredibly well acted. Like, there's a bunch of Game of Thrones vets, um, and like they just kick ass. So it's hard to say goodbye. Like, think about how important Nemec was
Yeah.
in season one. If you count his voice, he's in 4 or 5 episodes because Cassian plays it once in episode 11 and then again in episode 12. But he, as a person and a character, is in it for 3 of the 12 episodes and probably not like a ton of screen time. And yet the impact that he has is incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, Andor reading the manifesto, and you could tell by the end everything clicked. Like, and that's I think that's kind of like the turning point for him when he finally truly understood the words in Nemec's manifesto, and he finally made a choice, and we got to see that choice, and that was an epic season finale because of it.
Sorry, man. Been doing this episode from a very cramped space,
I gotcha.
and I've had to move out of the way a couple of times. um, I it's weird, right? Because like I think of a character like Brasso, who I really liked in season one, but then you sit there and you kind of think to yourself, well, how much are we really going to see this character in season two? Right? Like he seems like a surefire gone early guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's part of the growth. It's part of the growth of Andor as a character. Losing the people he cares about, losing those he's trying to protect, but also they're trying to do what they need to do for the rebellion. Um, a lot of these characters, I don't think need to be off screen. I think it needs to be on screen, impactful, and kind of give you a clue as to how it affects Andor overall. I think that's what we really need to see. Now, will they go that far? Maybe. They should, but there's no guarantees. Um,
I think, like, again, I brought up Brasso as an example. He's a character I like. You see everything he does in that final episode, right? And it's like that's something you can really dig your teeth into. Character building moments, obviously. The big moment with B2 Emo and
mhm.
Marva. And I just, excuse me, the way the season's laid out, how 3 episodes skip a year, 3 episodes skip a year, 3 episodes skip a year. I think, in terms of what we're talking about for a death toll, um, we are going to be losing people early and often. And the other thing we haven't talked about much, and they weren't really on display at the press junkets, but Star Wars has done this before, is there could be new characters this season. I'm not talking several, but there could be 2 or 3 new characters that had nothing to do in season one that play a big role in season two.
No, I mean it makes total sense that that happens, just because you could have someone like they're at a rebel base, and then you run into a brand new character who seems to be starting to get a lot of screen time and helps them escape, or something. Someone who gives words of wisdom to Cassian, where it just kind of something clicks, like just the how dealing with the pain of loss and how to use it to help the rebellion versus being self-destructive and falling down that rabbit hole that a lot of people tend to. Um, there's a lot of potential here for quite a few, definitely a few characters that are going to be new, that are going to have big impacts for sure. It's just I think I don't think they're going to be in a lot of episodes if we get that when we get them. I think it's going to be key moments that are going to kind of show personal growth for Cassian.
So some fun questions here for you. They were more set up for the 3 of us if we had a chance.
Yeah.
I know Johnny's still in the chat. He can feel free to chime in. We'll read his answers on air. But wanted to ask you about characters or events and where you see them going in season two. And the first one that comes to mind is Cass's sister. Do you think we will get anything definitive on that at all, or is the most definitive thing we're getting is one of the last things Marva's saying to him in person? Just let that go.
Um, if you really think about it, I if something comes of it, it's gonna be kind of out of nowhere, and it's gonna be something that's gonna kind of blindside all of it, kind of blindside us. But I feel like for the most part, I think we're at a point where he's probably going to be more focused with helping the rebellion. If they do pull on that thread and they do give it to us, it could make for a quite an emotional moment. But also, I feel like if he respects Marva's wishes, then it's just basically going to be focused on him getting through, essentially getting through the series to the beginning of getting through Rogue One. I kind of think that's where we're going to head, but I wouldn't put it past them to throw that in there.
All right, slightly tougher one here. And I was really on the fence with this until I watched the Rebels episode again, and they actually show some of Mon Mothma's speech to the Senate, and it is played by Genevieve O'Reilly, even on Rebels. Mon Mothma's family, Perrin and the daughter, and even the cousin, for that matter. How what's going on with them? How do you see season 2 turning out for them?
Well, as we all know, we saw the two kids meeting. So I think we'll get caught up with that a little bit, to see where things go with that, or if there's even any type of compatibility whatsoever. But also we got to remember, she did throw her husband under the bus, and you never know. We could actually see him trying to dig into some things and try to figure out why she threw him under the bus, because there's times that he acted so nonchalantly during season 1. I really disliked that character. I was happy when she threw him under the bus. But beyond that, as for the cousin, I think at some point we will see her bite it, and during season 2, just because of how heavily involved she was.
Yeah, so in season 1, the interesting thing there, when she throws him under the bus, as far as we know, he's not actually doing anything wrong. He's a
Exactly.
dick, but she uses him as almost a cover for the rebellion. And I have sort of a different point of view on this now that I've read Mask of Fear, the first of the 3-book series. There heavily gets into Mon Mothma. Perrin's in it too. And he's not the worst person in the world. I'll say that, or in the galaxy. There's a decent side to him, but it's an arranged marriage. They understand their roles, and it doesn't mean he didn't care. He was actually there for her during a couple of very trying times in that book. But at this point, you're 20 years into this thing. That stuff's happening a month or two after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
You get 20 years into this thing, a lot can change. People's patience runs out. 15 to 20 years. People's patience runs out. They don't want to put up with the same shit they put up with before.
Right.
I'm really curious to see how dark they go with that, man, because I think specifically with her family, they could go super dark to set an example.
It wouldn't surprise me. Palpatine is not above taking people to task that he dislikes. So,
well, you brought him up, and that's the next question. Palpatine. I think there is reason for him to be in this. For him, not a big role, but when Mon Mothma was given that speech, he should be in the Senate. Now, we know he isn't there for all the Senate hearings. He's probably not even there for half of them. Only select ones and important ones, as we've seen in Bad Batch, because of his, his visual injuries from the attack on him in Revenge of the Sith.
yeah.
But I think they're Ian McDiarmid's a fantastic actor, even in his old age. And I think you get the decrepit emperor in his spot in the Senate, just like in Revenge of the Sith, having to hear Mon Mothma go on about this and not be able to act on it, because you can't just, dead. Everybody would see. I think there's a role for him to play in this season. Not a big one, but I feel like it would just add gravitas to it. I'm not saying you need Vader, but politically speaking, Palpatine's still the face.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. I think that's like the one cameo that out of everybody should happen. Just because you're right, he should be there when she gives her speech. And we should see him give the order to take her out in his, to his aides, and then we see her having to escape Coruscant. I think we need, that's something that is part of her character, is part of her development as a character, having to flee for her life. And I feel like if you don't show that, if you don't show, Palpatine there, that's the day he's there. I mean, like you said, it doesn't have to be a long scene. It can be a brief 30 seconds, and there you go. It's similar to, like I said, if I get to see the ghost when she escapes Coruscant, I'm happy. So yeah, this is one of those types of cameos that works, and I feel is kind of needed.
Yeah, I'm not saying the season's ruined if he's not in it,
Right.
but I think he's a very crucial part. And honestly, I think he's the one area where I think he could have benefited. Rogue One could have benefited from is him being in that too. I was saying to Jade the other day that I've been itching to watch Rogue One so bad the last couple months. I keep holding off, and I almost gave in the other day. But like I've been wanting to like. We knew we were going to rewatch Andor, and now season 2 will be 28 days from now. It's over. So
Yeah.
um, it's like I really want to see season 2 and then go into Rogue One like that because I think that's how it's designed to be, right? Um, I'm just over the moon about the series, man. I can't wait for it. Um, I had another one lined up, and I don't remember. Do you have any thoughts, just in general, Star Wars and or season 2 or Star Wars in general, before we get ready to wind things down that you want to bring
So
up?
so thinking about it, and I know that probably won't happen, but what's to say we don't get to see? Well, no, it's trying to think how long ago it was. No, it's too far away. I was going to say seeing Galen Urso, but I don't think it's too far after Jin goes off, because I was thinking about Krennic being in it and having conversations with him, and I think about how old she was versus how old she was in Rogue One. So yeah, no, it's not going to work. It's like I was like trying to put the pieces together to find a way to get Galen Erso and to get Mads Mikkelsen in there, but nope, I couldn't do it. I tried, um, but no, I
Well,
think it's
I think there's plenty of room for Galen to be in there because there's 5 years, right? The second that you involve Krennic, I think Galen's on the board. Um, because remember, Galen would already be back with the Empire at this point in time.
true.
So I would not rule out Mads Mikkelsen. You know who else I wouldn't rule out? I don't think it'll happen. This is the one I wish Tony Gilroy was a little more fanboyish, simply because Thrawn does have a big part to play in and around this area. He's the one that almost catches Mon Mothma on the escape too.
Yeah.
He had ordered them to go to the Nebula. Um, there's a huge role for Thrawn in this show that I don't think is ever going to get utilized.
Well, even if we don't see him, I would think at least mentioned for sure. You can have kind of be like, oh yeah, Thrawn's trying to capture her now, or something like that. You could always play it off as that way. You could at least tie in Rebels as well, because a lot of the word of mouth stuff, even if it is mentioned, because that's one of the cool things is even just watching. Um, I got a chuckle out when we were watching, you know, last season when, Mon Mothma brings up Canto Bite, and I just kind of chuckled because I'm just like, yep, we all know about that scene. So I still think even if he's not there, physically, I still think there's a good chance they could mention it, especially with since Thrawn was trying to recapture her.
It's where you got to pick and choose, though, right? Like you have your writers and directors that will lean heavily on fan service, cameos, stuff like that. And then you have people that want to naturally make you feel certain things without having to rely on material outside of their own, which I think it's very fair to say Tony Gilroy is one of those people. So like I'm curious, like, hey, it's Star Wars, man. There's going to be internet controversy about this show. Someone's going to say something so borderline, they're going to blow it up just to hate on it. They're going to make something up just to hate on it. But I'll say this: if they retcon some of Rebels in
Mm.
this, specifically with the Mon Mothma escape, excuse me, I think it's not going to sit well with a lot of people. Your thoughts on that, and if you would be okay with it?
See, like you're talking about with, like you said, with characters and pulling characters from stuff you didn't do. If it fits the story, if it makes sense, that's how I see how it works. But in this case, yeah, it definitely is not going to sit well with me, just because um, it kind of takes away that episode in general. But ultimately, I mean, if they do it, they do it. I mean, there's really, will I be happy with it? No, but if it's done well, I mean, I can't fault them for that if it's done well enough that it makes sense. And I think that's where it has to be. If it makes sense to change it, if everything aligns up and gives us something that hits home a little harder because of it, because of the change, then okay. I may not like it, but I'll understand the reason behind it. If it's just changing it for the sake of not bringing in something that's considered canon in Star Wars, that's a different story altogether. But if it's not going to kill the series for me. Um, I'm still going to watch it.
But where do you
I
think that
still,
line is? Like that's the problem with trying to make everything count. Is it the end of the world? No. But people are gonna be there's still people pissed about Legends.
yeah,
And
I know.
frankly, probably rightfully so.
But I guess you could also play it off as, if you really want to really kind of delve into it, when Ezra went into the world between worlds, how much did he change unknowingly? I mean, he almost saved Kanan, and Ahsoka had to stop him. Like there's, it's things like that you have to wonder by, are there little ripples that affect time itself, or just by going into the world between worlds, and it's infinitesimal, and you don't even realize you've done it, but you've set something forth that's changing history. You could easily try to play it off as that, something like that here. Obviously, it doesn't really truly work, but it's an idea, more or less. But at this point, I mean, it's the one, like I said, all you have to do is see the ship. You don't even have to have the characters come out. If you change it that much, where you just at least see the ship, mission accomplished. You didn't shit on Rebels, and they still pretty much got to take Mon Mothma off of Coruscant. If you completely bring, even if they do just the Phantom, doesn't even have to be the Ghost. You can have the Phantom. That's fine too, as long as it's something Rebels related. Those types of changes aren't the end of the world. If they go a complete different direction, then they do. Um, is it a bummer? Of course, but as long as it makes sense to the story that they're telling and is done well, I'll let it pass for now. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to be any less disappointed.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm sure they could spark up and create their own controversy, but in terms of pre-existing stuff, that's the one I look at and go, if you can tread lightly there, I think you're basically home free. Now, not that's not how the public's going to react to it. It's just
No.
sadly not how things work, especially with this fandom.
Why didn't we see Hera? What about Zeb? Come on, man. You should at least Chopper.
I wouldn't rule out Hera. I don't know about Zeb, but I wouldn't rule out Hera. Wouldn't rule out Chopper. Wouldn't rule out the Ghost or the Phantom. You know, the part where they stop following Mon Mothma's story there could be when I'm assuming Cassian's going to get her out. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be that's a huge opportunity, the story to tell. And now there's wiggle room to do it how they want because there isn't certain things set in stone other than the rebels crew finishes off the escape. But like to me, it should be about Cassian helping Mon Mothma escape Coruscant. But I have this weird bad feeling they're gonna have her off planet when she does it, and to avoid the expenses of having to do like this massive Coruscant chase. But like, think about how good Andor looks. If anyone's gonna do it, let it be Andor.
Yeah, right? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, obviously, we're going to have our own expectations. Um, Given what we saw from season one and how well received it was, and the award nominations and some of the wins, and just everything as a whole of what Star Wars should be. Um, Obviously, anticipation's high. We are going to hold them to a higher standard, and I really kind of hope that we can at least look at it objectively and just be like, you know what, could have been some creative differences here. There could have been, yes, they could have gone this direction with it, but ultimately it still fits the story. And I think that's the one thing we're going to have to try to take away from each arc is, does it fit the story? Does it all make sense? And as long as it all fits together and makes sense, then I think it's a success.
Yeah, I think how like when a guy like Tony Gilroy comes out, who's like not this Star Wars nerd by any means, it's just not who he is. Um, and says, "Look, it's fair to say when this is said and done, it'll be the most important entertainment thing I've ever done in my life." That's how strongly he feels about it. And like I watch the cast junkets because I feel like I've watched enough of them in the last decade and a half to get an idea on if people can have the fake confidence, and then there's, if you know how to read people, and there's the true confidence that this show is going to be good and to deliver. And I don't get the fake confidence from any of them that have done speaking over the last 48 hours. They all sound incredibly confident about this project. Because that's another thing, right? I didn't really ask myself this till after our watch party last week. And it was the same night. I was having a really hard time sleeping. And I just kind of thought to myself, maybe we are underestimating just how hard it's going to be to follow up on that first season. Your thoughts?
Any successful show, doesn't matter whether it's Game of Thrones or Supernatural, or um, we can go even say, we'll go Smallville, or even like seasons of Arrow, where like all these shows we've watched, we know there's always going to be that expectation of how do we outdo the previous season, and or at least try to stay on par with it, because I think that's really where it needs to be. And we can see um, what happens when they try to outdo expectations, but things don't go the way they plan, or they try to, or they play it safe and they underdeliver. I don't doubt it in my mind at all how difficult it's going to be to recapture that feeling, the magic you had in season one, on a quality level, storytelling level, acting level. Like, that, like I said, the show was nominated for many awards, won some. It's been one of the best, Star Wars TV series that Disney Plus has put out. That's not, and the thing is that's not easy to follow. And it boils down to just, we've seen whether it's production level music, acting, writing, we know, at least with this cast and crew, we're going to get solid acting. We know there's going to be good writing. Tony Gilroy's not going to skimp on production value. We know, obviously you're a little worried about the music. That's rightfully so, considering how season 1 was. But you look at all the other shows we've seen, and they all had their flaws, to the point of where it was just, maybe they cheaped out on something, or like with the Acolyte, or even Obi-Wan Kenobi, where they just didn't put the resources into the shows that they could have, that could have made them even better or great. Whereas we'd look at something like Andor, where Tony Gilroy's not an idiot. He's putting the money where it needs to go. He's making the correct decisions on lighting and set structure and overall background and where the music, and he's got his hands in enough to where the show is so well put together. It's hard to imagine that season 2 won't be more of the same. Not to say that there won't be some pitfalls. We all know that every season 2s aren't always the best, unless you're the Mandalorian, then you surpass season 1. But ultimately, it's at this point the proven track record of Tony Gilroy at this point, for all the hard work that
Hot take, sir. Hot take. Smallville season 2 better than season 1. Game of Thrones season 2 better than season 1. I can't say the same for House of the Dragon, unfortunately. But yes, Mando season 2.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not so. I mean, if everything falls, everybody's comfortable with their character, they know the direction, they can relax a little and just act. Whereas a lot of season 1 stuff usually is the actors are trying to find their footing on who the character is, what they're about, and how to portray them. Season 2, they know who their character is. Now it's growing the character. So it's, maybe season 2 is better, and maybe they're just being humble about it, and just just, even though they're confident, they're just not being too braggadocious about it, in terms of just saying that season 2 will be better than season 1. It's just, we're confident we put out a good product. And honestly, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really hard to beat season 1. I do think the one area where I think they have some room to improve is, I'm not the biggest fan of the prison arc. I think the escape episode's great. I do. But those other 2 episodes, not that there isn't valuable things that happen in there specifically away from the prison, but the prison arc in general, despite me, and actually there's one last question after this, I'll save that, but I think if they can avoid having a weak, pun intended here, a weak week on the show, I think it has an opportunity to at least be more consistent than the first season. Say what you want. I don't disagree with Johnny's take on the first 2 episodes, that they're sluggish and slow and they take a while to get started. And, the 3rd episode obviously, won Johnny over a bit. But, like, those first 2 episodes aren't great of Andor. There's good stuff in them, for sure. But the episodes in general just aren't great. Final question, dude. If I didn't just fucking lose it, and I think I did. Unbelievable. It was about a character. Trying to remember it off the top of my head. I got nothing. All right. Well, I believe that is going to do it for us tonight. Big thank you to our channel sponsors, Maddie, who was on here earlier, Ryan over at Colleague Nation, Jesse over at Jesse Storytime Spectacular, Our buddy Jason Knight over at Backtrack Cinema, back doing live shows. Great guy. Check him out. Does a lot of retro stuff and does it well. Knows what he's talking about too. Doesn't talk out of his ass. If you want extra content, head on over to our Patreon. Still the same at this point. As you may or may not know, I was without power for 2 weeks, and realistically, that probably put us more than a month behind on stuff in terms of the show, which I did a lot of heavy lifting with today in terms of creating thumbnails and stuff for all the Andor content we're going to be doing. So yeah, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/fandom empire. Still, honestly, just like the video, comment on it, share it around on groups, help spread the word, fight the algorithm. For Randy and Matt, for Johnny who wasn't feeling well. Really big thank you to all you guys for coming out. Randy, where can everybody find you at?
So over on X at Giggity Giles, and as of right now, it's trying to like herd cats to get everybody together to do some recording with the Sports Brew. We're all in our 40s. Everybody's got families. It's been a hard time getting together to nail something down, but hopefully we'll get something soon out to you. If you're interested in sports, just laughing and having a good time, because we just talk shit all episode long. Just Google Sports and Brew and you'll be able to find us no problem.
Awesome, dude. Greatly appreciated. For everybody else, I'm Sean. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming out. Andor Season 2, Wrestlemania 41 review, as well as a Star Wars Celebration review. Busy week next week. We'll see you then.